Bucko, mighty Bucko, hello and welcome. Welcome to you all. Predictive programming at its best. This one's going to be called now. Yes, tokens will play a part in this talk. So many have looked at the predictive programming that links 9/11, the Twin Towers, to film, TV, CDs, talking about that which would come about. So I want to look at the Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, with the Divock 91, to link them together clearly. And so we'll be looking at the 1968 film, What's So Bad About Feeling Good? But first, let's look at the backdrop of 1968. 1968 was the very year that construction began on the World Trade Center. And we may remember that picture on the front cover of Time magazine with David Rockefeller standing there with his wristwatch showing at exactly 9/11 as they're building it in the background. 1968 was also the year that the Divock 91 was coined. It officially appeared in print for the first time in Science magazine by a group of virologists. Now, in our country, do we still ring 999 for the emergency services? It's been ages since I bothered ringing a fire police or anything like that. But in America, the emergency number was changed to 9/11, and that was in 1968. So let's think on the principal actors in this film. Again, it's a light-hearted comedy that puts you at ease, and yet there's great predictive programming going on. The principal players here, George Peppard and Mary Tyler Moore. Now, let's begin with George Peppard. He was well known in films and also TV series like The A-Team and many other things. One of my favourites was the TV series Banachek. And you'd probably remember him if you ever saw those episodes. Set in Boston, he's an insurance investigator, and if he solves the problem and recovers the goods, he gets 10%. He does very well. He's got a chauffeur-driven big car. He smokes these thin cigars, and he's elegantly dressed. And you see him, Boston, it opens up with a skyline, and he's rowing with his white hood up, and the music's there. Yeah, Banachek. And he's always, because he's a Polish American in the TV series, he's always quoting little Polish proverbs. He would say things like, "There's an old Polish proverb that when a wolf is chasing your sleigh in the dead of winter, pause to throw him a raisin cookie, but don't bake him a cake." These little things he gives out in every episode. Now, in the pilot episode of Banachek, I was amazed at the amount of Phoenician colours that were coming out. I often talk on the colours, the codes, the numbers, in connection. The Tiffany blue and the purple was just in abundance in that opening pilot episode. He was also in the iconic film with Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Tiffany blue. Breakfast appeared, the word, in the LP Supertramp's Breakfast in America. Just something I throw out. Maybe there's no connections as such, but I thought it was interesting. Mary Tyler Moore appeared in films with Julie Andrews, Jack Lemmon, Robert Wagner and Elvis Presley. She also had her own TV series called The Mary Tyler Moore Show. Now, in view of the amount of death and destruction that came about with the collapse of the towers, and the Divot 91 of those that have got that, should we be surprised if yet again this dark, evil cabal are offering up people within their ritual sacrifices? I wouldn't be surprised at all. And I'm just going to put out there some things I discovered. So, let's look at George Peppard to begin with. Put those to one side for a minute. George Peppard died on the 8th of the 5th, 8th of May, 1994. If you add them all individually, comes to 36. 3 6 is 666. Mary Tyler Moore died on the 25th of the 1st, 2017, first being January. I know the Americans put the other way round, but we do it this way, So if you add it, the full numbers, in other words 25, 20, 17 and 1, comes to 63. 3 6s, 666. How old were they then when they died? Mary Tyler Moore was born in 1936 and she was in her 81st year. 81st year. 8 and 1 is 9. George Peppard, when he died, was 65 years old. 6 and 5 is 11. There we have the 9 from one, 11 from another. George Peppard had lung cancer. He entered the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles with breathing problems that developed into pneumonia. Mary Tyler Moore died at the Greenwich Hospital in Greenwich, Connecticut from a cardiopulmonary arrest complicated by pneumonia, after having been placed on a ventilator the week before. Now, what does all this sound like? People going into hospital with problems. What does it remind you of? How many under the care of Divot 91 were taken into the institution by the ice cream vans into that building and put on an air balloon and blasted off into the next world? We will now draw our attention to the director of the film. The director of So What's Bad About Feeling Good was a man called George Seaton. It was also produced by George Seaton, and he also did the screenplay with Robert Pirosh. And George Seaton was born in the year 1911. 9/11. Now, The film before he made this film in 1968, and I've been saying for a long time, you can't make these things up. It's one of my favourite expressions nowadays. I keep repeating myself. You cannot make it up. The film he made before that was called 36 Hours. And it's about a psyop. A man in intelligence loses his memory and they want the information from him. So they create an environment that is false and the people are false and everything around him is false. And he's got to figure out what they're actually doing to him. 36 hours. Let's look at the word hours. Hours. Numerical value is 36. So you've got 36 and 36. And so the film then, that was the film before, that was the film we're talking about. So let's have a think. It wouldn't be, what's his next film going to be? It wouldn't be something to do with planes, would it, by any chance? Any good? Airport 70. Yeah, they all follow on, don't they? All linked together. Now, let's look at the film title. Every film has a title. Some are long, some are short, some are direct to the point. This one has a bit of an odd title. I mean, if you sort of heard that to begin with, would you think that's a good title for a film? So what's bad about Feeling Good? A bit strange, a bit, okay, there's some different sort of titles. The numerical value of all this, I've been through it. Okay, let's just have a look. Here we go. And we're going to add them individually together. 2 add 3 add 8 add 1 add 2. Don't count the 0. 1 add 9. 26. 16, 7, 14, 40, 23, 36. If you put them all together, 2 individually, 2 add 6 add 1, 36, 3 6 is 666. So we come to the film itself. The two characters. One is called Liz, one's called Pete. You never know the surnames, they're never referred to by, not even as Peter or Elizabeth, it's just Pete and Liz. Liz is 47, Pete's 46, 47 add 46 is 93, flick the 9, inverted 9, 3 sixes again, 666. So it opens up, the film opens up in an aeroplane, coming in over the skyline of Manhattan, over where the Twin Towers were beginning to be built. And here comes the plane and it's coming in. That's with the opening titles, the credits and the music. And then it takes you to humanity with their vexations and angers at one another, workmen, people shouting at each other on the street, people told you can't walk across the road, people honking their horns, takes you to the United Nations, the Russian banging the table, niet, niet, no, 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 and it's going on like this. Then it takes you to Greenwich Village, with the hippie scene, and there's a commune where Liz and Pete live. And they refer to themselves as the elite. We're the elite. We are entirely different class of people. Us composers and painters and writers, we don't search for the truth, we've found it. And they all live there and they're in peace and harmony. By and large, but they have their problems and this and that. But a ship has come in and it's docked and it's carrying on this boat. Now, the snag is, it is that doesn't make you sick. It makes you feel euphoric. It makes you feel good. It makes you feel happy. And you want to help people. And everything is kindness and love and peace, man. It's great. They're all chilling out, getting on with each other. Really, really good. But to the government, this is extremely dangerous. Everyone's getting on with each other. Pete becomes infected with this when this that carries the comes to the apartment. And Liz likes the change in Pete. Let's look at the word toucan. There you are. That's what it comes to, the letters. Add up the individual numbers. It's 20. 20. 2020, the year of the Divot 91. 20. Comes to 20. Toucan. 20. So, in the film there's a police car with 513 on it, which comes to 9. And then, as people get infected, they say there were 47 cases thus far have been reported. 4 and 7 is 11. More people in the commune are getting infected, including Liz. At one point Liz says, I have just been exposed to I wouldn't want to take a chance on you getting it. Maybe if I just stayed far enough away from you, you would stay safe. And the word is actually used, stay safe. In another scene, someone says, if he can just get close to you, you can catch it. Go away, you leper, someone shouts, like we've seen in our days with people. Stand back, you're 6 feet. So the government drafted a man to deal with this crisis and report directly to the president. The man has the surname Monroe. Now, when you think of the name Monroe, you don't think of Bill Monroe, who the founder of bluegrass music. You more than likely would think of Marilyn Monroe, to put a famous Monroe name on it. And she died at the age of 36. And Monroe is played by comedian Dom DeLuise. And Dom DeLuise died on the 4th of May, May's the 5th month, 2009. 4 and 5 is 9. 2 and 9 is 11. 9/11. As Monroe, Dom DeLuise says, he says, oh, come on, you don't just think that this thing was an accident. Do you look at the facts? Look at the facts. It came out of Red China. It came from China. Do you realise, he says, what could happen if this gets to Washington? Republicans agreeing with Democrats and vice versa. They could destroy our two-party system, our very foundation of our great democracy. Interesting, isn't it, what he says? The cabal, the cult, they like two parties, mainly two parties. 3 is a bit harder to control, 4 even more so. 2 is fine. A bird has 2 wings, whether it's your Conservatives or Labour, your blue or your red, which only makes purple anyway, which is the colour of the group. So that's what they push, two-party system. Republican, Democrat, blue, red, and in England, Conservative, Labour, it's the same thing. You get the same bird. On wearing this, they say, however, the Commissioner of Health recommends that you wear a surgical mask when you go into public. And that's, of course, on the picture, if you can pick it up there. They've got muzzles on. There's muzzles. displayed, and the authorities are walking about in them. So the government, they find an antidote to the, and they come up with something that they can give to people. We've isolated it is from a pigeon brain. So they pass an ordinance that everyone in New York has to take a shot of the stuff. The pharmaceutical houses have promised an unlimited supply, they say in the film. Now, I won't tell you the ending of the film, but some of you may think, well, maybe, Bucko, you're seeing a number under every bush. Well, if it's a Herbert W. Bush or a George Bush, or even a Kate Bush for that matter, you may well have a point. And Janie actually does a very good impersonation of Kate Bush, because she's got the high voice and she can hit it just the right note, singing that Heathcliff song. That's just by the way. So, will the next demic involve possibly a bird? And if it does, should we all wear beaks instead of these? And so it's fitting to finish with another quote from Banachek's Polish Proverbs. There's an old Polish proverb that says, when an owl attends a mouse's picnic, they ain't there to enter the sack races. Be seeing you.